When you were a child, if I said to you, what is hell? Imagine, if you will, what you would have seen in your mind's eye. Imagine what your answer would have been. Would it have been dark? Would it have been hot? Or maybe cold? Would there have been a lot of fire all over the place, and maybe there's a soundtrack that played in your head that had some screaming going on? Was there something there called the devil that was red and had horns and a pitchfork and a whole bunch of little demon minions running around? How many of you imagined something like that when you were a child about hell? How many of you? Yeah. So let me just say that the Bible doesn't say anything about that. That is not the hell that we find in the text. That's the hell that somebody found in Dante or Milton. That's from literature, that understanding of what was there. But that's not what the Scripture says. One of my favorite preachers is Fred Craddock. And Fred Craddock calls that almost Bible. Here's another good example of almost Bible. You know this saying. The saying that God doesn't give you more than you can handle. That's not in the Bible. And if you've really suffered, you might say, well, yeah, I knew that wasn't right. So what's the problem with almost Bible? Well, what does the Bible actually say about hell? Well, in the Hebrew Bible, usually the word for hell that we translate into hell is the word Sheol. S-H-E-O-L. That's the Hebrew word. Or sometimes the Greek form, Hades. Now, if you took any mythology, it's not the Hades that's the underworld with gods and goddesses. Both Sheol and Hades in the Hebrew text means a burial place. It means the body to be buried underground. But there's no talk of pitchforks. And in the New Testament, the word that Jesus uses almost every single time, all but one, is the word Gehenna. Now, Gehenna was a place. It was a real place. It was the Valley of Hinnom. And long ago, that was a place where pagans and others worshiped God and made human sacrifice, even children's sacrifice in the Valley of Hinnom. And when King Josiah, the young boy king, when he came to power as the king of the Israelites, he cast all of those people out. But that place still bore the scar of what it had been. And so it became a dumping ground. It became the dump. It became where the trash was put and the bodies were thrown. It became a place where they burned that garbage. It was literally the garbage dump for the people of the land. And so when Jesus talks about Gehenna, what he's talking about is that garbage dump over there. And so in today's reading, that's the word we've translated as hell. But to really get today's reading, we have to sort of put it in context, I think, right? So, first in chapter 9, one of the first things that happens is, well, we're walking along. We're on our way to Capernaum. Jesus and the 12 and all of the others are walking along, and he hears them bickering. He hears them bickering among themselves. And so when they get stopped and they sit down, he says to them, "What were you arguing about?" Some of them check their nails. Some of them tighten their sandals. Nobody wants to answer. And then finally one of them says, "We were arguing about who was the greatest among us." I think he sighed. What he said was, if you want to be the greatest, what you do is you become the least, you serve everybody. And then he wants them to have an image of that. And so he reaches, and one of the children that's sitting near him, he picks that child up and places that child on his knee, and he says, see, look, if you